Hello everyone and welcome to SEO's channel. I'm Spandana. Today we'll be discussing a subject that is both old and new, the Anti-Defection Law of India. Recently on 31st July, the Supreme Court directed the Speaker of the Telangana Legislative Assembly to decide within 3 months on disqualification petitions concerning 10 members from the Bharata Rashtra Samiti, BRS party. The court reiterated that the Speaker acts as a tribunal in adjudicatory proceedings. Therefore, he does not enjoy the immunity provided for an officer under Article 212 for regulating procedure or the conduct of business or for maintaining order in the House. Disqualification petitions were filed, but the Speaker, who belongs to the ruling Congress party, didn't take any action. A single judge bench of the Telangana High Court had asked the Speaker to fix a hearing within 4 weeks. But later, a division bench of the High Court reversed that order. Now, anti-defection law was added to the Constitution as the 10th schedule in 1985. The Congress had won 401 seats in the Lok Sabha the previous year, riding on the wave of sympathy in the wake of Indira Gandhi's assassination in 1984. The government had introduced the amendment to maintain stability. Since then, the Supreme Court has been called upon several times to determine how long the Speaker can sit on disqualification petitions. In this context, a key legal principle that has evolved is that of quia tamet. This refers to action taken to prevent future harm or injury. The party that seeks to compel the Speaker to take up disqualification petitions deploys this doctrine to argue that the court can review a Speaker's non-action too. Back in 1992, in Quixoto Holland versus Zachilu, the court had held that judicial review was not available before the Speaker took a call, effectively ruling out quia tamet actions. But that decision didn't say anything about the timeline within which a Speaker must act. In practice, however, Speakers let defection petitions languish till the end of the Assembly's term. Noticing this, the court changed tracks. In fact, in 2007, in Rajendra Singh Rana versus Swami Prasad Maurya, the court stepped into the Speaker's shoes and disqualified MLAs in Uttar Pradesh. Later, in Shesham Mahendragat Singh versus Speaker of the Manipur Legislative Assembly, the court reinterpreted Quixoto Holland to say that the bar on quia tamet actions only apply to judicial orders preventing the Speaker from acting, not to orders that compel a timely decision. In the present Telangana case, the court followed the precedent of Kesham Mahendragad but did not go as far as Rajendra Singh Rana. It concluded that Quixoto Holland did not in any manner interdict judicial review in aid of the Speaker arriving at prompt decisions as to disqualification. The court also relied on Subhash Desai versus Principal Secretary, Governor of Maharashtra, or the Shiv Sena anti-defection case, where it had said that the Speaker must decide petitions within a reasonable period. It justified its choice not to take matters into its own hands by noting that the line of decisions from Quixoto Holland to Subhash Desai had consistently held the Speaker to be the authority at the first instance. But in the same breath, however, the bench suggested that Parliament consider the prudence of entrusting the Speaker or Chairman of the House with the task of deciding disqualification petitions. It also noted that its 3-month stipulation to the Telangana Speaker was to counter the criticism of Operation Successful Patient Died, a clear reference to some of the commentaries that followed its verdict in the Shiv Sena case. My colleague V. Venkatesan, who covered the judgment on Thursday, told me that a counsel had complimented the bench for ensuring that in this case, the patient was not dead. Indeed, the verdict represents a step forward from the amorphous reasonable period formulation in Subhash Desai. But does it go far enough? The petitions have been pending before the Telangana Speaker for 16 months now, granting 3 more months to render a decision that is likely to be judicially challenged again, risks further stretching out the timelines. Yes, the patient is not dead, but it does feel as though they have not regained consciousness fully post-surgery. What do you think about this decision and anti-defection law in India? Tell us in the comments below. And for more such stories, stay tuned to seobserver.in. Thank you for tuning in.